Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my Tamariscifolia juniper. I last pruned this tree up in August of last year and it's grown quite a bit since. So I'm going to work on the top of the tree today, and then tomorrow I'm going to be repotting the tree. I did repot it out of its nursery container into this clay training pot, but it was out of season, so I didn't do a full bare root repot. I kind of just trimmed the roots and fit it into the new pot. So that will be coming up tomorrow. I'm styling this tree to look like a wind-blown mountain tree. You can see the wind is blowing from the right-hand side across towards the left-hand side. So I'll rotate the tree around. So this was my chosen front. Rotate it around. And I want this tree to look good from all views. Another strong possibility of a front is the back. You see more of that windswept kind of structure to it. Yeah, so it's a nice tree. It looks good all the way around. It's not a two-dimensional tree. So I'm going to continue today getting that wind-blown style to it, cleaning up a lot of branches. I've been reducing this tree slowly. When I first got this tree, it had the adult scale-like foliage on it, but now it's reverted back to the spiky kind of juvenile foliage. I tried to reduce the tree slowly, just taking a little bit off with each pruning session, but it didn't work. It didn't keep its adult foliage, even though I was being fairly cautious and approaching this slowly and carefully. It may grow the adult foliage in eventually again, maybe once I get more of the primary structure of the tree set, and then I can maybe prune it even less each year, hoping to get that adult foliage to come back in. Here is a look at the foliage on the tree. So you can see it's kind of spiky looking. It looks like a needle juniper rather than kind of the adult foliage, which looks more like a thuja or an eastern white cedar. Yeah, so you can see it's all the tips are turning a brighter green, they're swelling. So it's about ready to grow. So it's a good time to prune all the branches that I'm not using off the tree and then allow all the growth to go into the branches I want to keep. I've been styling this tree using clip and grow only, and I'm going to continue using that technique. There won't be any wiring on this tree. It'll just be all done with pruning. So I want to have that wind-blown look to the tree. So I want to make these foliage pads out at the end kind of flat and wind-blown looking. I don't want them rising up. So I'll prune to downward facing growth if possible, like here and here. Pruning off the growth that's going upwards and redirecting it more downwards. Oh, it smells nice too. So quite a bit of thinning at the tip here. Yeah, really reducing these branches back, getting them more compact, simplifying them so they don't look like big fuzzy branches. You can see this branch here. It divides. The thick branch comes up and it divides into two. I'm not sure I want to keep both of these branches. I think I want to prune this one off, so here I go. Like that. Kind of makes it more flowing, that branch. And then behind here I've got some vertical growth that needs to be pruned back. Like that. So I'm really taking this juniper back because I'm not so worried about getting juvenile foliage now because it already has it, so I might as well just go for the styling, try and get it as something I like. Now, same thing on this branch. It's cut off here, it's divided from 1 to 2. I think on this one there's a downward facing branch here. That's better another down one here, so I could at least prune off the top here, and I will. To here. That gets that branch a lot flatter. There's a bit hanging down here, I'll take that off. And then this branch, you can see it's got a good wind-blown direction there. And I don't really like this side too much. I'm going to prune it back to here. Shortening that quite a bit. There's a lot of hanging growth down here that doesn't look very good either. I may want something in this direction, but maybe not this stuff going down vertically. Anyway, we'll deal with that part when we get to it. So, yeah, I'm just going in carefully, looking at every branch and giving it a nice pruning. Here's another one that's reaching skyward. I can prune it back to here, taking the top off of it, maybe even further to here. Yeah. This part is sticking up here. We'll take the vertical parts off. Yeah, I wonder, I have one here. I think I can take this one back even further. And I'm not even sure I need this branch in here. It kind of clutters things up, so I'm going to take this one off. Allowing the branch coming out the front to fill in that area so it looks more three-dimensional. Instead of, having just one flat branch with branches coming off, I've got one that sticks out the front, which makes it look quite a bit nicer. Now, this branch here is a bit of a dilemma, I guess, or it needs a decision. Do I keep it or do I get rid of it? It's quite vertical. I already have my vertical kind of trunk line here. I have a feeling I don't need it. So I've got to decide, well, is it adding anything to the design of the tree? It is kind of very vertical. It doesn't really fit in so well with the rest of the tree. This branch does divide from 1 into 2 here. So it's not a bad branch. I just think it doesn't fit in. Even though I have some sort of wind-blown branches coming off of it, I think even if I shortened it, it still goes up vertical. So I'm thinking of taking it off, or cutting it back and creating a bit of deadwood there. I think I have to. It's just too straight vertical. So off it comes. Now, if I leave some deadwood, I want it fairly short, so I'll take it right off here. Here I go. Big cut coming up. Done. How does it look? I think it looks better. I think I've maybe left it too long. I'm going to reduce it back even further. That's better. Then I'll come in with my pliers and I'll just kind of strip the bark off this. Peeling it back like that. There, I think that looks good. Looks like there was a branch there that broke off. Okay, let's keep going. Now, I've got a shoot coming out here. I don't think I need that. I'm going to take that off. You can see more of the structure behind here now, which is quite nice. I think once this bend kind of, this gets woody and heals and makes a nice corner there, I think that branch will look good in the future. It looks a little, the foliage is very light on it now, but I think that's a future branch. And I'm thinking maybe this one could come off so this one can grow more. I think this one needs to come off too. Like that. Gives that branch a little more room to grow in here. Just pinch the top off that and the tip off this one. There. Okay, so this front branch is looking quite nice now. I have this growth coming down here. Let's maybe deal with that now. You can see it comes out from this back branch and grows right into the one in the front. Now, do I want that? It's kind of, if you imagine the wind blowing in this direction, it's kind of in the shelter here, and foliage would naturally grow there on a tree. So I'm thinking of keeping it. I think it looks good kind of tucked in there, but I'll just prune it back a bit. Some of the downward hanging ones I'll prune back a bit, pinch back. Some of these ones going straight down I'll prune off. Just so there's something tucked in there. I think that'll look good. Now, on top of this branch, I have this piece sticking up here, this branch. Do I want that? Do I want another kind of layer there? Maybe I do. Let me see. I do have a lot of branches in that area, so I think rather than develop the one right on top, I think the ones to the sides will be better. Tough decision. I'll try pruning it back first. Like that. And I'll see how it does. I can always prune it off later. Get rid of this one that's in the way there. Now, off of this branch, I have one coming out of the back which is opposite to the one here. I've got to decide which one do I want to keep. I'm thinking, because these are growing in between the two major branches, they probably should come out and keep the one fanning out to the back. The back one will give it a little more depth to that branch. Yeah. So I'm going to take this one off. Gone. And there's one growing back here I'm going to remove also. Just take out this one. And then that one growing out the back, I'm going to keep my cascading part and remove the vertical growth. Like that. Okay, it's making progress. The next branch, I have this big thick one. From the back you can see this branch comes out, and then I've got some vertical growth here. So, gotta sort this out. I don't think I want it growing up too high here. So I think I'm going to remove this vertical growth here. So off it comes, that part. Do some of these vertical shoots back to more horizontal flowing branches. I got a big shoot coming out here. Kind of interfering with this branch. I'll take the part that comes out the front off. Come on. Like that. And then I've got one growing from underneath here. I can get rid of that one. Like that. This can be pruned off. Vertical part can be pruned away. Maybe reduce back more. It's looking better. This part can be pruned back. Take the vertical growth off. You can see this branch is looking better. Now I have one coming this direction. I'll try pruning it back. I may have to take it right off, but I'm going to prune it back severely. Like that. Now, off of these branches at the back, I've got another one that sweeps upwards. I can see if I can prune it down to a more horizontal branch so it's not so high here. What have I got? I've got strong growth in this area, so I can take the tip off at least. It doesn't really do a whole lot. I may have to go a little more drastic. Moving some vertical growth here. I think if I got rid of that branch, I wouldn't have much in this area. I've got the branch here and the one here. If I got rid of those, I'd have this big bare spot there. I don't think I want that. So I think I'll keep them. I'm just going to try and reduce them back. So maybe I'll take this back to here. Take this back to here. Kind of reducing everything. Half the battle with these junipers sometimes is just figuring out what branches you have, because they start out as a huge clump and it's hard to get in there and see exactly what you have. So you just kind of work away, reducing it, and slowly the branch structure kind of reveals itself. So next I have, coming off the trunk here, I've got kind of a vertical part and some horizontal branches out the back. So I think I've got to sort that out. There's one kind of growing a funny direction here. I'm going to take that one right out. It's new growth. I've got the older, woodier branch here. Prune that back. Maybe further. Yeah. Prune this back. Always pruning back to a branch that's going towards the left-hand side so it looks windblown. The ones that are going into the wind, prune them back shorter so they look like they're being battered by the wind. Now let's go around the back here now. So here's that branch at the back. So I like it. It gives depth. It's coming out. So I just want to take the tip off so it's kind of going with the wind. Shorten the ones going into the wind. And taking off any vertical ones if I can. Take those right off. That's a little better. And then there's another one above it here. Maybe a stronger branch. This one kind of comes from underneath here. So I need to I'm going to prune the one off going into the wind. And this one also, it's a new growth. I've got to prune this one back shorter. Maybe right back to here. Probably developing this in the future. This is my backup. So I've got 1, 2, 3 branches all in the same area. From the front, I can't see the lowest branch. It's kind of hidden. And I've got to decide between the upper two which one I want. Good question. The other one, the upper one, is kind of nicely filling in that space. The one below it is a little more windblown, this one here, but it kind of grows behind the branch and then reveals itself over in this area. So I think I'm going to keep the upper one and get rid of this middle one, like that. So now from the front, yeah, it looks better. It kind of fills in that space nicely. See that right there? Yeah. I think I better pinch this back. Pinch the tip off here. Pinch the tip here. Yeah, so I think this whole section is improved now. It's got better flow to it. It's flatter. It looks more windblown. I've got a couple of branches here. I'm trying to decide if do I need them. Like I've got this one, and then I've got one growing up inside here I don't want. And I think I've got to decide, do I want these at all? From the front view, it fills in between these branches a little bit, but so I think I'll keep that one. I mean, it's not the worst in the world. Yeah, okay. I'll keep the one in the front and get rid of this one. That cleans that section up a bit, and I can kind of grow this out the back here a little more. Okay, well, exciting stuff. It's sort of developing. Okay, now I want to work on this branch at the back here, or this area. So from the front, if this becomes the front, it's kind of a background branch that gives the tree depth. It's not really that visible, other than, you know, there's something back here. When you look around the tree, you can see this definitely gives some depth to the tree, which is always important. You don't want your tree to be flat looking. So let's just look at it. We want everything going this direction for the wind, so the ones going into the wind I'll prune off shorter. Okay, that kind of solves this branch. It's a hanging one, I'll get rid of that. I don't want anything hanging down too much. This one, I'll prune the tip so it's looking windblown. Like that. This one is kind of going opposite the direction of the wind. So, I think I'll keep it, but I'll have it kind of curl around. So I'm going to prune the ones going into the wind shorter. And there's one going with the wind. I'll get rid of the middle one here. And prune it off there. I think that's looking good for that branch. Kind of keeps it, but it's still going to look wind blown in the future. Now there's one coming from way in here. I don't think I need that one. It's kind of coming from a funny spot. It's not part of it, it'll go. This one I can keep, it's nice. prune the upper parts off of it. There. Then above this branch I have another one here that I can make a little more windblown. I guess it's already kind of windblown, but I'll shorten it. I've got one here. Again, kind of shorten the ones going into the wind. Leave the ones going with the wind a bit longer, giving it that windblown look. Here's another one going into the wind that I'll shorten back. Not taking off, because if you don't have anything, if you don't have any branches going into the wind, it looks funny. It looks one-sided, like instead of windblown looking the tree, it looks like a hurricane came and stripped the one side of the tree. So if you have stuff going into the wind, you can kind of prune it short and then eventually have it come out and then back into flowing with the wind, so the branches kind of curl around. I think that always looks good. Yeah, so anything going into the wind, I'm pruning off a bit shorter. Now I've got some branches coming from this thicker one kind of growing across the tree. The only reason I'd keep them is if they're kind of wind blown. I'm just trying to see if there are any that are kind of going with the wind. Not really. This is kind of an ugly cut here. Like it will heal, but I could improve that. I could just kind of strip it a bit. So I think all these branches here have to be sorted out. I'll keep this one for sure. This one can go. This one can be shortened. Shortened. I think this can be taken back. This can be taken back. These ones are all going into the wind. I need to shorten those. Too cluttered. Sounds like the zombie apocalypse. So this tip, I'm going to take it back really far here. Here I go. Really taking that branch back. I've got one going between here that is getting cluttered. I'll take this part of it off. And this part. One here to tip off. So I've got a lot of branches growing off the trunk here on this side. Now, do I want them is the question. I've got this branch here and the one here. Do I need more? Kind of up the middle here. I don't think this one. It's right at the base of these two branches. So I'm going to take this one out, cleaning up that area, that junction. It'll shoot up. And then I've got the one here, which isn't bad. There's kind of multiple branches growing in this one spot, so I'll clean up the base of that branch a bit. Right here. You know, it's something there that, again, fills in this area here. So I'll take make it a little more windswept. And I've got two branches in that area. I've got the one towards the back, which I think is the better one. This one's too close to this trunk, so I'm going to take this part off, like that, keeping my one branch here. Giving it a bit of room, and it'll kind of grow out here in a wind-blown pattern. I think that'll look quite nice. Now, I don't know about this one. I guess it doesn't hurt either. It's kind of close to my other two branches. This one's far enough away that it looks good. I'm wondering if I need that one. I'll leave it for now. I can always prune it off in the future when I see how this area is looking. Okay, so I think I've done a lot to improve this area, but I still am not finished. Here I've got 1, 2, 3 ladder branches, so I think I'll get rid of this one, this vertical one, and this and this one, the middle one. Just keep this one and the one above. A bit of pinching here, pruning. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have some further work to do in that area in the future, but we'll see how it develops, what's happening there. Yeah, so it's kind of a back branch anyway. It doesn't really affect the final design too much. Now I am kind of high here. I wonder if I could reduce it back a bit. It's a bit better. This one, some pinching, a little pinching at the tips here. Make it a little more compact. Okay, I'm done with that area for now anyway. Okay, so the next, I've got this apex up here and I've got this branch coming forward. So again, I want this to be kind of wind blown. So anything going into the wind will be pruned back shorter. And the other ones will be allowed to trail with the wind. Take this vertical growth off here. Take this whole top off here. So I'm taking a lot off this juniper, but I'm also leaving a lot on. It's plenty to keep the tree healthy and surviving. But I'll definitely have to let it have a growth period. You don't want to, prune it back like this and then keep it trimmed. It's got to have a growth period where it can flourish, survive for a while, restore its health and fix all the wounds, and then once it's recovered, you go at it again. I'm just making everything a little more windblown there, more compact. So I can come back to here. This one, take the tip off. So these branches are heading into the wind, so we'll keep them short. Come on. Maybe I'll take the tip off this one. It's getting a little tall. Looks good. This back one, I can take the vertical part off. Like that. Take the tip off. And I've got, you can see here I've got some really strong growth. So that's going into the wind, so I need to prune it back shorter. I will keep it. It's always nice to have something on the windy side. I'll prune these hanging branches off. I'm going to prune the top off. And I'm going to prune the top off here. Quite a reduction. And then the one out the back, same thing, taking it back in vigor. Anything going into the wind gets pruned back fairly hard. Like that. I got double branches here. I wonder which one I want to keep. I'm thinking keeping maybe both. No. I better keep my strong one. I'll get rid of the lower one. I'll keep the stronger one up top. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Maybe a little more pruning up here. I think that's sorting out that front branch quite nicely. So what I've got left is this tall apex here now. So again, I want it to look wind-blown, so I've got a nice wind-blown branch here I can remove. Or I'll remove that part, shorten this back. Like that, maybe even get rid of these ones on the inside, I think. Too cluttered looking. Trim this one back. And take the apex butt out. There. The one here is nice, but I have a vertical part I can take off, so I will. Like that. Prune the tip off. Prune the windward one's back. That looks good. I've got one growing right in between these two branches, which isn't so nice. I'm going to prune it back short first of all and see what it looks like. Well, it looks okay. It's kind of growing at the junction of these two branches. I think I better get rid of it. I mean, I could keep it. No, I'll keep my windblown one. Get rid of that. Off it goes. That's better. Okay, so my branch here, I'll take that back, take this back, take the ones into the wind back. There's one growing here I don't want. I'll take the tip off here. That's better. Now, way up here in the high winds, let's get some wind-blown action happening here. These branches are fairly wind-blown off to the side here. Take the tip off there. Tip off here. I'll shorten this one back to a wind-blown branch. This one too. And this one. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it's not great. It doesn't have a hole. It doesn't have much of a wind-blown direction. I think I need to shorten it. I think the branches on the side are kind of upsetting that wind-blown look. I think I need to... I've got 2 branches on this side. Don't think I need any of them, maybe. Well, I'll keep them, but I'll make it more compact. See what happens. Is that looking better? I've got a lot of confusion in this area. I have too many branches right here. I need to simplify that. Nice compact foliage on that one though. It's just too many branches there. I could keep my lowest one and get rid of the one in the middle. At least trim it off to there. And then the one going up here I can get rid of. And do I need this tall one? I don't think I do. I think I could reduce it back further. Like that. And that's much, much better. Gets that height down a bit. Well, that's certainly... I think I actually kind of like this as the front more. Yeah. I'm going to change my front. I think I like seeing this branch back here. So I think something more like this, if you can see that. Yeah, so I think rotating the front from here over to here makes it a little more interesting seeing that branch on the side here, which will eventually look more windblown in the future. I'll have to pick a pot out for it. I mean, the training pot it's in is a nice size and everything, but I'll try and find something a little fancier that kind of suits the tree. And yeah, try and get it repotted tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what the roots are. Maybe I can raise the tree a little bit and show some of the root base. I'll clean all the moss off the base of the tree. Yeah, it's a interesting tree. I think it'll look quite nice in the far future, I hope. Here is a look at what I took off the juniper today. So I would say, comparing it to the tree here, I probably took off 50 to 60% of the foliage. Kind of a big step for this tree, but I think there's plenty on the tree to grow and recover. I'll be repotting this juniper in tomorrow's video, so let's fly in now and have a look at the tree, see how it's looking. I'm really happy with the progress of my $12 clip and grow juniper. I hope you join me for part 2, where I'll be repotting it tomorrow. That is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.